Hey everyone, it's Sunny here. So a little bit different setup than what I typically do for these chats that we have. And I'm gonna explain why I'm doing it a little bit differently today. So today I'm actually doing it from my phone. And the reason why we're doing it from my phone is that I wanted to be able to show you my camera setup and what I use when I'm doing anything camera related, whether that is pre-recording a video for a program that I have for my clients, or going live on Facebook, or doing a Zoom meeting or anything like that. So I wanted to share with you what my setup was so that you could kind of see that at the end. But first I just kind of wanted to talk a couple of minutes about, how do you get comfortable on camera? Because that is, I'm not going to say it's the most concerning or the most kind of scary thing that new nutritionists have to deal with or have to face, especially in kind of the online age that we're in right now, with telehealth really on the rise and a lot of nutritionists doing virtual practices or clinics. But it is up there. Going on camera is pretty scary. And public speaking in general is pretty scary. And so I just wanted to share with you some of my my tips, some of the things that I did when I first started to kind of make it a little bit easier. Now, to preface this, I did spend 20 years in the military, and just about all 20 years, I spent giving a lot of briefings, some to kind of higher level individuals in the military, but also to very large groups. And so that tends to get you very comfortable quickly with public speaking. Now, I am a very introverted person. I do have a lot of social anxiety. So even though I may look like calm, cool, and collected right now, I promise you that I'm sweating buckets. It's always not super comfortable for me. But I just do the same things every time, and then I try to always do, a little relaxation before I get on camera. Now, again, these tips are going to apply whether or not you're doing a Facebook Live, or you're doing a Zoom call, or you're doing any type of pre-recorded programming for your business. So first thing foremost is you always want to practice what you're going to say. Because if you know what you're going to say, and if you feel comfortable with the material that you're going to talk about, the process of the briefing or the meeting or the workshop or education or whatever it is that you happen to be doing on camera, if you're comfortable with the material, then that makes the process of being on camera much more comfortable for you. If you have no idea what you're going to say, you feel like you're just going to go off the cuff, that's going to make it a much more nerve-wracking experience than if you know what you're going to say ahead of time. So always know what you're going to say and practice what you're going to talk about. Now, if you are doing like a pre-recorded programming for, or pre-recorded video for some program material that you're going to have for client programs or onboarding or things like that, you can always use PowerPoint presentation and just do voice over PowerPoint. So they never have to see your face. They just hear your voice in the material that you're putting out. But when you are going live on camera, like I said, you always want to be comfortable with the information that you're going to put out. Know the material well, and practice it ahead of time. The next thing that you want to do is always look at the camera. Always, always, always look at the camera, because you are talking to people that you don't even know. Like right now, I know that there are 3 people watching this live. I have no idea who those 3 people are, but I know that I'm talking to 3 people. And so I just kind of imagine who might be out there listening to me. I kind of pretend that it is a client talking to me or asking me questions in person. So if you're in your office, or if you're in a virtual session with a client and that client asks you a question and you would answer that question, try to have that personality when you are on, whether it's a live or doing some type of Zoom meeting or pre-recording, because if you can answer that question and be, kind of calm, cool, and collected and a little more relaxed, knowing that maybe just one person is listening to what you're saying, try to take that same, well, it's just one person. So since I don't know who's watching, I tend to imagine the people that are watching. I might put like my kids there, or maybe my husband. I sometimes think, well, my husband's watching me even though I know he's not watching me. So if I can put a face to who I think is watching me, it helps me know, okay, well, I'm just having a conversation with that person. There are other people watching, but in my mind, I'm just having a conversation with one person. Whether it's a client that I'm imagining, maybe it's the one that I was just with earlier, or whether it's a spouse or a partner, or maybe it's your best friend. But if you can imagine that there's somebody that you're very comfortable with on the other end of the live stream, then that makes it a little bit easier for you to kind of get through it. And then, like I said a minute, I started to say it and then I kind of drifted off, is always look at the camera, because you can make a connection that way. So if I'm looking at the camera right now on my phone, it should almost look like I'm looking at you. And actually, I can't even see my camera. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so I am looking at the camera. But if I were to look down and I start kind of looking at myself, or I start reading what I might be seeing at the bottom of the screen, you all will see that I'm looking down. So you won't see that I'm actually doing the information. So it kind of breaks that connection. So if you're trying to make a connection, you know, through the camera, you always want to make sure that you're looking at the camera and not at yourself. This is helpful if you are doing a live on your computer or even from your phone. Sometimes it's helpful to pull something up instead of your face, because it is hard to look into the lens. It's, you know, our natural thing is to look, oh, who's on the camera? Even if it's yourself, it's a natural response to start to look at the person that's on the phone or on the computer. So always try to look at the camera and not what's there. And if you find that your eyes are drifting to what's there or what's visible, pull up something else. If you're on your computer, go to a different screen. If you're on your phone, turn it around and just look at the back side of the camera. Start the live, and that's how I used to do it. Is I used to start the live on the other side and then only talk to the back side of the phone, so the back end camera. And then the last thing that you can do, or the other option is, let me see. There we go. So this is my camera that I use, and sometimes, so this is where I look when I am you know, doing a recording or something. You could always put like a little picture right here. So I sit far enough away. I actually sit all the way back here. So pretty significant distance between where I sit and where my camera is. Up here, you can always put like a photo right here. And instead of trying to look into this little circle right here and trying to keep eye contact with that circle, you can put a little picture right here and focus on that photo. You know, it can be of your favorite pet, or like I said, your best friend or your partner, your spouse, or somebody that you know that you want to look at. You could always choose like a really fun photo of like an animal, if you're a big animal lover, like your most favorite photo of your pets or cat or dog or fish or birds or whatever it is. Something that like when you look at the picture, it just brings you intense joy inside. That's the kind of picture that you want to put there to look at. Now, you can create Facebook groups on your Facebook page. If you have a Zoom account, you can just record yourself all day long practicing. But if you really want to get into doing things like Instagram Live or Facebook Live, if you have a Facebook account, you can create a Facebook group. When you create a Facebook group, you only need to invite one other person. They don't have to be in the group. You just have to invite them. So you can create a group. Like I could go on Facebook and create a group that's called like Sunny's Test or something like that. And I can invite my husband and then tell him, look, I invited you to this Facebook group, but just don't accept the invite. Just totally ignore it. So it will only be me in that group forever until I invite or allow other people in. And I can go live in that group. I can go live all day long and no one will ever see it as long as it's a private group. As long as it's a private group in your settings, nobody is ever going to see that feed. So you can practice all day long going live on Facebook in your own personal group, getting comfortable with the setup and the process and how it works. And there's always a little delay in Facebook Lives, so you can get kind of acquainted with the delay and what that looks like and how it kind of feels to be in it. And then rewatch them and take notes of yourself and think, okay, what do I want to improve about this? How is my eye contact? How was my speech? Is my speech indicative of how I normally talk? Now, My eyes roam a lot and I look all over the place, and I tend to be a little animated when I'm talking. If I'm not that way in a Facebook Live, I'm not really being true to myself. If I try to be very still and don't say and don't let my eyes wander, this is really hard for me. This is not who I am as a person, and I'm fighting against my own natural instincts right now. I'm trying not to say in this moment, so it's always gonna look a little inauthentic. And my point with that is you always want to be yourself. Always be true to yourself. People like you. They like your credentials. They want to know that you're able to help them. But at the end of the day, they want to make a connection with you. And the one true way to make a connection with you is for you to be yourself. Okay, so I'm just gonna share my full setup. I know I showed you the camera earlier so that you can see it, but we're gonna talk about my full setup here real quick, and then that will be the end of the live. So I have a light, let me get over here. I have a light behind my camera. This is just a really cheap Logitech webcam. I don't even know how to pronounce that word. This is a stand I got from Amazon for like $15. This is a light that I got from Amazon for like $15. And then I want to say that this was like $29.99 or something like that. And I have been using this kind of pieced together setup for about 4 years now. I think 4 years now. And it works for me. It connects into my computer. And so when I am sitting here, let me just make sure there's nothing on my computer that's kind of HIPAA compliant. We'll go over here. Okay, so when I'm sitting here at my desk, clients cannot see my computer. They can only see what I have here in the background. And they can't see my very messy desk. And the upside to not using this built-in camera is that this webcam has a better picture, it's clearer, and I can put it at eye level or higher so I don't look like I'm looking down all the time. So obviously I'm sitting higher right now, so the phone is at my eye level, and I'm sitting higher than the top of this camera. So if I were to use this camera, it would look like I was looking down versus looking directly into the camera. So you always want to make sure that your setup is helpful for what you're trying to do. Okay, so that is it. Look at the camera, practice what you're gonna say, be comfortable with the material that you're gonna put out, practice in a closed Facebook group on your own personal profile, practice. Have a setup that you're comfortable with, and just be yourself. That's the absolute best thing that I can tell you, is just be yourself. Be who you are. Don't try to be anybody else. You're going to see people that are really refined in their speech. You're going to see people that look like an absolute stellar professional in their lives or their streams. And if that's not you, don't be that. Don't try to strive to be something that you're not. Just be you. Be authentically you. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see y'all around. Bye.